Sure. So it's a book with 12 chapters in 3 parts. The first part is chapters 1 through 4, and it's about relationships. Now, it may seem a bit curious, why is the first chapter of the part on relationships spiritual disciplines? The reason is the first chapter deals with one's personal relationship with God, and the argument that I make in the book is that that relationship exists, or rather is founded upon the spiritual disciplines, because the spiritual disciplines are what you do when you're giving God your undivided attention. Now, for those listeners who are familiar with the spiritual disciplines, which is kind of it's not a biblical term, spiritual disciplines, but it's been popularized in recent years. You'll probably think of many different things because people have written books that contain many different spiritual disciplines, and this chapter really is only about 3 of them: Bible reading, prayer, and fasting. And prayer and fasting kind of go hand in hand. So, yes, I think that the section on prayer is one of the strongest in the entire book. Prayer is a beautiful yet perplexing part of the Christian life, and I have tried to face it rather head on and address some of the difficulties surrounding it in this chapter. And I must say that personally, going through the process of writing that and grappling with the, again, beautiful but challenging teachings of Jesus on prayer has been of immense benefit to me personally.
Yeah, what I have done with this book, just as kind of a side note, is, I've taken the book, even though I've read it through, as we were writing it and read the different chapters, like I said, several times, I'm rereading the book, and now that it's in its complete form, and challenging myself with something out of each chapter to improve upon. In the spiritual disciplines, really, I kind of picked 2. I wanted to be more regular with my fasting, but also with the prayer, and exercising more of what you lay out in the book on prayer. So that's how I'm using the book, and I think a lot of people could use the book that way, simply by taking it. Because here's the thing, we can't improve on everything at once, right? But if we take the book and we take it chapter by chapter and say, okay, I'm going to take at least one thing out of this chapter, and I'm going to make it a habit, and I'm going to live my life this way. And then you take something out of the next chapter. Then at the end of the year, you have really grown as a Christian. You have advanced. You have become more like Christ. And then you can start back at the start again, because I'll 100% guarantee you're not going to implement everything in this book in 1 year. Right, it's going to be an exercise over time, because you just can't look like Christ overnight. So anyway, so that was kind of a side note on what we were talking about there. I think I don't want to get hung up on each individual chapter, but fasting is a good example of something that we just don't hear preached on a lot. It seems like some antiquated idea out of Scripture that's no longer applicable, but we explain, or you explain in the book, why it is still applicable and how we should use it and what our thoughts should be on it. So anything else to say on chapter 1 or to add?
I agree that fasting is not discussed enough. You mentioned that it seems antiquated to us. It seems rather medieval, but I argue in the book that really it's better suited to now than it was to medieval times. And the reason that I say that, and I think that this is an issue in the Christian life in general, is that we live in such a comfortable time. We live in such a prosperous time, at least here in the West, in the first world West, that this really extreme level of comfort and security can make us numb. And when we are numb in body and in mind, we tend to also be numb in spirit. And what fasting does is it quickens the body. when you stop eating and you have that strong reaction of hunger pangs in your body, you are no longer in that sort of comfort-induced numbness. And it really gives a sort of quickness to your prayer and to your relationship with God that is really easy to miss out on when you're just going through the motions of our American life. So I think that fasting is absolutely for us today. And I would also say that fasting stops some people in their tracks because they don't really get it. It's like, we're just going to stop eating, and that's somehow supposed to help our spirits. And I've read plenty of things on fasting, but I have never really heard someone explain why fasting. What is it about stopping eating that makes it something we should practice as a spiritual discipline? I do attempt in this chapter to explain that and to offer a reason as to why total abstinence from food for a period of time is spiritually beneficial.